My name's Daniel Flinter. I'm a 23-year-old photographer from Bristol in the UK. More specifically, I do commercial and lifestyle photography, which in its simplest terms means I shoot products and I document all of my travels. What is lifestyle photography? For me, lifestyle photography is making something look the best it can be to really get people interested in whatever you're taking a picture of. So for me, it's taking pictures of products and locations, but shoot it in such a way that people haven't seen it before, or at least try and shoot it in such a way that it hasn't been seen all the time, just like a small amount of time. How does the prep stage go? When it comes to product photos, I collect inspiration from social media, from Pinterest, Google Images. That's actually extremely handy and it's quite easy to access. And then I go about sketching all of the products, just so, again, I don't have to stress about it. It's already there. I already understand what pictures I have to try and take. And then I can really pinpoint what I need to shoot and trying to achieve the best pictures that I can. As for traveling and documenting where I go, gotta be honest, I don't really prep, and I do that for a reason. Basically, just so I can minimize me getting a shot that somebody else has. If I think about any trips that I've recently been on to the Lake District, Peak District, Cornwall, I usually go with a group of people because I don't really enjoy going just me. I would prefer to be with other photographers, and I tell them, tell me how much it is to stay there, food, whatever. Just don't tell me the places that we're heading to, because that way I can always go to a place with fresh eyes, a fresh mind, and I can reduce the chance of me shooting pictures that everyone else has. I think it's worked. I have no idea. I just put up stuff on Instagram that I think is good either way. So yeah, that's kind of why I do prep for product stuff, but not so much for the traveling aspect. So much time has been wasted preparing for perfect conditions when in a split second everything can change, especially the weather. In Britain, you don't know when it could start chucking it down. And I've started to use that to my advantage. So now I'm just kind of prepared for anything. We had a job to go shoot a Land Rover Defender, and for the first few days it was like harsh sun. The images were great, but towards the end of the trip, it started to chuck it down and it was moody, and that is what we wanted. It's exactly what we wanted. I mean, come on, it's a Defender, it goes off-road, it's a beast, it's a tank, and it needs to be splashing through puddles. It just needs to be. Again, I don't really prep, I just kind of wait to see what happens, because you can't predict the future as much as you plan and plan and plan and do whatever prep you want. It's kind of like just saying, just stop being concerned about it and just see what happens. And if stuff happens, if it starts chucking it down, use it to your advantage. What is your process of shooting? This is something that has definitely changed over the past year, especially when it comes to social media. With the introduction of carousels on Instagram, and more people started to experiment with how they present their pictures on Instagram, me included. So what started to happen is I began to do a lot more storytelling, and I kind of used like films as like an inspiration for that. So like you always have your hero shot and you have your close-up shot and you have your medium shots, that sort of thing. And that has really helped me grow on Instagram, because you know, it's not just a picture, it's quite a few pictures, but it feels seamless. So yeah, I think carousels was a great addition to Instagram. And yeah, if you haven't tried carousels yet, or just having pictures in a post one after the other, highly recommend. Best locations to shoot products and travel pictures. If you're in England, anywhere up north, if you're in Wales and like Scotland and all that, you're fine. Like, I envy anyone who lives up there because it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Yeah, because before 2020, I pretty much just stayed in Bristol and I shot everything in Bristol so many times. I was like, what else is out there? And then the opportunities started to happen. You know, I went to, as I said, went to the Lake District, Peak District, went to the Brecon Beacons for the first time, went to Skomer Island. Like, it's incredible. So, best places in the UK, up north, if you're in England. There are some good places in England. Cornwall is stunning, as always, but yeah, a really good shout is just go up north. It's always good, always good. Best lighting. Technically, as long as you can see a subject, you're taking a step in the right direction. However, if you want to start to add some more mood to your pictures, shooting at golden hour is always the best. Always good. So if you don't know what that is, it's just when the sun is starting to come up or the sun is starting to go down, which these days I think is like 4 in the morning and 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, which is great. It means you have to get up really early in these times if you want good shots. I mean, you can still get good shots in the sun. Like, I think I'm just going to include like a few that I've just shot, which I was like really happy with because it was in, you know, harsh sun at like 12 o'clock and 12 o'clock, and they turned out really well. But just going back to golden hour, it's just the way everything is decently exposed. Like, there's no harsh shadows. It just makes for some really cool pictures. Same can be said for product pictures. You can shoot at golden hour, but for me, I tend to shoot stuff at home because I can control the situation with the studio lights, and it just gives me that more commercial feeling. So at home with studio lights or outside at golden hour, just you can't control the situation outside. Best settings on your camera. Manual. Always go manual. You have full control of how your pictures turn out. You can control the ISO if you need it to be somewhat a little bit brighter if it is quite dark. You can control the aperture, so the amount of depth of field that you have, which is basically how blurry the background is. And you can control the shutter if you want it to be like a really quick picture, or if you want a bit of dragged out, I guess you get. I mean, the kind of example would be in doing light painting. If you have a really low shutter, you can create streaks of light, especially if like a car is traveling by. So if you want to try and up your photography skills, manual is the best settings on your camera. What gear do I use? I actually use quite a lot at the moment. I have Canon 60D with a Sigma 10-20 on it, which is what I'm shooting on right now. I have a Canon 50mm 1.8, a Sigma 70-300 f4. I sometimes shoot with a battery grip on the camera. Just, you know, if I go on a huge shoot, I don't have to be concerned about battery, and a DJI Spark drone. I have so much stuff because I can cover everything. You know, going back to my film inspiration, I have my 10-20 for hero shots, I have my 50mm for medium shots, and then I have my 70-300 for those really abstract close-ups. And then the drone, because it's just a really unique perspective that you don't really get unless you're in an airplane or in a helicopter. That being said, all this equipment will be condensed fairly soon. Gonna be upgrading the camera and the lens to just one, which would probably be a 24-70, just so I can still get a wide angle for hero shots, 50s in there for medium, and 70 for close-up. It's not going to be as close-up as the 70-300, but I'm going to try it for now to see how it goes, and I'm sure I'll be getting more and more class over time, because you always do. You always end up spending so much on camera equipment. How do I edit my pictures? Client work aside, most of my photos use a similar editing style to achieve a consistent look across my portfolio of work, especially on Instagram. That's just because I enjoy it. I try and keep my client work aside, or if I put my client work on Instagram, I will edit that client work again to fit on the grid, just because I like to keep it consistent and clean. I use a few base presets on my Instagram, and then, so I click that, but then it's not done. I gotta then do all the exposure and contrast and curves and all that jazz. And if I want to take it a step further, I bring it into Photoshop and I do color balancing and I cut stuff out and I add things that weren't even there. I do a lot to edit my pictures. It's not just a case of clicking a preset and it's done. It's quite a bit more than that. What are the skills to become a photographer? I think you need a good eye and the ability to see things differently compared to other people, but I think you can learn that over time. You don't have to be born with it, because obviously that's a lot easier said than done to have a good eye and see things differently. But putting that aside for a minute, it's always good to learn the basics of photography. So I've got this like here down. It's like you need to understand composition, you need to understand the rule of thirds, understand lighting, why certain lenses work best for certain situations, all of which can be found on the internet. So if you are interested in picking up photography, the best place to go is just go on your computer and Google it. It's always the best way. Like, I learned a lot of stuff from here on YouTube. There are plenty of people out there who have tips and tricks to help you improve. So yeah, start right here. What inspires me? People trying their absolute hardest to make something of themselves really inspires me. You know, turning their passion into a career, because that's what I did, and that's because I saw other people doing it. It makes you believe in yourself, and it shows you that if you put the time and work into it, you can achieve anything that you want. You just have to set aside that time to think about you and what you want, and you can turn something that was considered a hobby into a career, because that's exactly what I did, and I've never been happier. Never been happier. Current or future work? Right now, I'm working with a fairly new client, picked up around April, where I'm an editor and videographer for a tech company, where I have on podcast, interviews, TV sets, color grade footage, things like that. I get other client stuff on Instagram here and there, which is more like product gigs where I shoot pictures, which is always good because I really enjoy it. As for the future, no real plans. I run my own business called Flinter and take on bigger clients, but very happy with how things are going right now. Any tips and tricks? Don't delete pictures off your camera, even if you think it's bad. Here's an example. I was going to delete this picture of the Defender, but I took it into Photoshop. I did some artistic wizardry and managed to create a pretty cool picture from something that I was just gonna delete off the camera straight away. Use the surroundings to guide your eye is another good trick. You know, how to frame the subject. Always look into that. Shoot low to the ground to add depth is my third trick. You can turn an average shot into an even greater shot. Tip number 4, which is probably the best one I can offer, is use wide angle lenses, just like this one. This is a Sigma 10-20, but it's on cropped camera, so it's more like a 16-35. So shooting a 16 just makes for some really awesome pictures, especially if the sun's starting to go down. It produces all these flares and it really exaggerates the flares. So yeah. Well, that's it for my 20-ish questions. Hopefully that was insightful and hopefully answered a few of your questions that you may have had about photography. If you're interested in the sort of work that I do, then please head over to my Instagram. My handle is @_Flint&Steel. I'll leave all my stuff in the description down below. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.